All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Christian Wood Houston Rockets video. If you guys enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I was reading a Bleacher Report article today, and they were going through like a couple of different players and team situations on, because we get the trade deadlines in a month, man. Trade deadline is literally a month away, and I have a feeling it's going to be a very active trade deadline once again this year in the NBA. But regarding Christian Wood, there are still a lot of Rocket fans who don't want to see Christian Wood traded. I'm in agreement with Bleacher Report. I think he gets traded at the deadline. I really honestly fully anticipate it. I think honestly he was going to get traded either at the deadline or in next year's draft, regardless of the antics that have been going on. But here's what happened a couple of days ago, which resulted in the Christian Wood suspension, which is basically, this was kind of like my last straw for Christian Wood, because I was already questioning his ability to lead a basketball team, be a number one option on a championship team, and just genuinely like be that guy. Like if I want to re-sign Christian Wood, even if it wasn't to a max contract, I want Christian to want to be here in Houston. And here's what happened a couple of days ago when John Lucas called out Kevin Porter Jr. and a couple other Rocket players. Was apparently Christian Wood had like no intention in being checked into the second half in the game against, what was it, the Wizards? No, that we just beat the Wizards. I can't remember who we played 3 games ago, but it was the Nuggets. In that game against the Nuggets, apparently Christian Wood in the second half, even though they were only down 22 points, had no intentions in checking in. And that causes its own issues. Why would I want a basketball player who won't sub into a game when you're only down 22 at half? You just scored 55 points. Yeah, you just gave up 77 in 2 quarters, but you can't just quit on your team. And so that really was the final straw for me. And it's been leading up all year with Christian Wood just kind of getting into all these arguments with our younger players, specifically Jalen Green most recently. In the middle of a basketball game, these guys are going at each other. I mean, Jalen Green gave him a look of disgust, where it was like, are you we don't know what Christian Wood said, but apparently they cleared it up after the game. And, basketball is competitive, guys are competitive, and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, I want my player to want to play for our basketball team. And I would just feel like Christian Wood has this kind of sense of entitlement for whatever reason. And apparently, I actually think I have the article right here. Apparently, so here's the quote. Wood showed zero to little inclination to check into Saturday's game when head coach Stephen Silas called upon him, sources said, and Silas quickly moved on to other players. John Lucas also confronted Wood at halftime, and at least one other of the team's young players challenged Wood, telling him that as a veteran, Wood should be setting a standard. And it's just so true. Christian Wood at 26 years old, he's been in the league long enough to know, especially on this Houston Rockets team, man, you got to set the example. You cannot, your attitude is going to be contagious because you're one of our leaders. So however you're carrying yourself, what you're saying, what he's doing on social media, Christian Wood, people don't even know this. Christian Wood is literally liking tweets that are kind of bad-mouthing the Houston Rockets on Twitter. This has been going on for almost the whole season, but specifically recently. You add it all together, and it's just you add all the off-court issues, on-court issues, I should say, and you throw in the fact that he's 26 years old and just doesn't fit our timeline. It's do you really want to pay Christian Wood X amount of money in a year and a half from now when he's going to be 27, 28 years old, while our young core is still 20 years old, 21 years old, 19 years old for this upcoming draft? My answer is no. And it's just I was on the fence for wanting to trade Christian Wood because I was thinking, all right, maybe if he can get to 20 and 10, I would be down to pay him whatever money he's looking for, just so we can, have a star on the team and, stay somewhat relevant. But then you throw in, everything that's going on off the court, and it's you have a 26-year-old who there's value there. There is value to a contending team to want a 26-year-old Christian Wood, even with the off-court issues or on-court issues. I keep saying off-court. Even with the on-court issues and the clashes and the collisions with teammates and coaches, I think it's just because he's on the Houston Rockets. And, honestly, he came here to want to play with Russell Westbrook and James Harden and PJ Tucker and compete for a championship. I think that's what Christian Wood is kind of starting to realize is like, all right, I don't even know if I want to get paid from Houston. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he requested a trade relatively soon. But looking at his trade value, you're looking at 17 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, 47.4% from the field, which is the lowest in his career. It's below 4 ticks below his career average of about 52%. Shooting below his career average from downtown as well, which is 36. He's shooting only 33.7. Free throw shooting, I think, still the worst free throw shooter in the NBA at 61.9%, but he's been improving. He's definitely been improving. And then games like last night where you see just kind of like a vintage 20 and 10 game from Christian Wood, I think those are the games where you are reminded, like, all right, Christian, like, even with all this stuff going on right now, yeah, maybe his value's been diminished just a little bit, but for the most part, a contending team should just want Christian Wood because he could be the final piece to the puzzle, especially if you have like 2 other stars on your team. A guy like Christian Wood would help you out so much. So those teams that are kind of rumored right now, you've got the Charlotte Hornets, who have a bunch of young assets and draft picks that they can offer us. But I think if we were to do a trade with Charlotte, it would be more revolving around younger players, guys like Kai Jones, JT Thor. Golden State, they have Kuminga, they have Moody, they have Wiseman, they have some firsts. Honestly, I don't think that they're desperate enough to offer us even Jonathan Kuminga. I think we'd have to maybe even find a way to sweeten up that deal. But obviously the Golden State Warriors are up there on my list of destinations just because of the potential packages that they could get in return for Christian with, any of those 3 guys I just mentioned. I would love to have any of those 3 guys. I mean, if you guys subscribe to this channel, you know how big I am on Jonathan Kuminga. I'm positive he will be a star in the NBA, and I'm the same thing with James Wiseman. I would not be surprised if we saw a 25 and 10 peak James Wiseman. I think those 2 guys are going to be studs. And then finally, you do have the Dallas Mavericks, who I think if we were to do a trade with the Dallas Mavericks, it would be more revolving around just draft picks. I don't think that they have too many young players that they could offer me that I would be like, oh, this is awesome. I think that would be maybe more expiring contract, young player, and maybe 2 first rounds, maybe 1 first round. But either way, the package I'm looking to get for Christian Wood, if we do in fact trade him at the deadline, which if they don't trade him at the deadline, it's no big deal because he will still have value come draft day. So as long as they were to trade him by the draft or on draft day, I don't have a problem with keeping Christian Wood. My prediction is that they will trade him. That's my prediction. I think it's probably something like 60-40% chance that they trade him, although I could definitely see 50-50. It might be more like 50-50, but either way, I'm looking for a package of sorts of a young player or first round draft picks. I'd take either of those. So that's it for today, guys. I know trading Christian Wood is still relatively a hot take for Houston Rocket fans, especially after the night he had last night where he's giving you a glimpse of if he was consistent with it like he was last season, 21 and 10, Christian Wood, he's a hell of a basketball player. I just don't know if he fits what we're looking for long term, and Rafael Stone might just have had enough. So that's it for today, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Peace.